I never grew up with educators that looked like myself. I always knew that wisdom was a powerful tool, but I also know that oftentimes we neglect it because of who it comes from.
Facts.
It's not necessarily just about being a king, it's more so about becoming a kingmaker.
Man, you got to be close enough to relate, but far enough ahead to inspire. What's going on, beautiful people? This is the Let's Grow Together podcast, a place where diverse individuals and communities come to serve, connect, and grow in the areas that they're most passionate about. This your boy James. I am joined with my brother Marcus, as always. Marcus, brother, how you doing today?
What's the word, family? All is well, man. All is well. Coming off of a jubilant MLK day, man.
Yes,
I'm
sir. Yes,
charged
sir.
up, man. I'm charged up. We're gonna manifest the vision, man. We're gonna manifest the dream, I should say, man. That's been my
Yeah,
thought process, bro. That's been my thought process. How was MLK day for you though?
man, it was dope, man. It's the rare holiday that I actually get to take off, so it was dope to actually have an opportunity to just kind of recharge. I mentioned to you offline, man. It is extremely cold in Chicago right now, so man, I literally every meeting that I've had, I've changed to virtual. I'm like, look, we ain't got to meet, bro. Just let me send you this little Zoom link real quick, and we'll just circle back. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny we talk about MLK, his legacy, and his dream. I had saw a post, and I don't know if it was real or not. It was on the Shade Room and stuff like that. But it was like Martin Luther King's like grandson or son was like, he would probably be, like he wouldn't be proud of where the world is. So I'm interested in just kind of ask you, Marcus, like knowing what his legacy was supposed to be and what he wanted. Like, what's your thoughts on that and where we are right now?
Hmm. That is a very good question. I'm gonna try to answer it without discussing the current status of politics.
For sure.
Because from a current status of politics,
Yeah.
and the Nazi sign salute and all these different variables that recently occurred, definitely would not be happy by any means, I believe. But when it comes to, you know what? I don't think you'd be happy. I agree. I don't think you'd be happy from a political perspective, but more so internally, how we are, right? I don't think we've really evolved from an internal community perspective, right? Yeah, we do some great work, things of that nature, but from a
Mm,
collective, like, bruh, just recently, man, we had a shooting in Target out here. You
mm,
know what I'm saying? We had it's been a lot of negative things, and it's us on us.
yeah.
So I do not believe that he would, man. To be candid with you, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I kind of echo the same sentiment. I think the biggest thing that I feel like the issue that he would have is that it's so many like me against you type thing, right? Black on black, quote unquote violence,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think that would be the biggest issue because he fought for us all to be equal and to be able to integrate and be able to have some of the same opportunities as our counterparts. All right, now we have a lot of those opportunities, but we don't take advantage of them, right? And I'm not saying that's everybody. I'm not trying to blanket everybody together, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of us that are still operating from this lack mentality and will feel the need to like shoot someone or have a shootout and walk and target. You know what I'm saying? But on another note, man, I know that there are a lot of progressive things that have happened. You know what I'm saying, due to the work that MLK did. So I do want to say that I believe that his legacy led to some dope stuff, but I do feel like we got some work to
Sure.
do.
We got a lot of work to do. That was the theme. I actually went to an MLK breakfast over the weekend, and that was the theme. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Yes, he had a dream, but nothing is complete, right? It's
Yeah.
a dream that hasn't fully been manifested just yet. But yet we celebrating him, we happy, we got our feet kicked up, and people are kind of content to an extent. So
No.
that
This look, man. It's the Let's Grow Together podcast. I gotta be candid, man. I just thought about a funny kind of nugget. I was talking to some of my white counterparts over the weekend, and we were like,
Hmm,
man, I got Monday off. What y'all going? What you doing? They was like, we work. Like both of them. And we were like, we work. And so me and my homie was like, dang, that's crazy. Y'all just they ain't gonna honor Dr. King. What I'm saying, because they work, but it's really industry related. They're in the medical, and they're one is an accountant. But it was just so funny that I'm just like, it's so crazy that they didn't even get it. They was like, nah, bro, we just
hmm,
got work tomorrow. But I literally made the point like because they're not aware, they can also cause harm. You know what I'm saying? And I let them know that. But
hmm,
because they're my homies, they was like, nah, bro, I didn't even think of it that way. It's just business as
hmm,
usual. But I laughed because bro, they didn't even bro. It really went right over their head. Like, oh, we just what's tomorrow? Like, I'm just going to go to work. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
nah, that definitely makes sense. But I
yeah.
was even thinking that there's a spot I drive by, it's MLK Boulevard, and
Mm,
traditionally there's close to every hood there's an MLK Boulevard.
mm,
And I noticed a lot of people are very content and appreciative that we got the street, that we got the day, but that's kind of where it ends for a lot of people.
yeah, yeah.
And I noticed everybody sharing things of that nature,
Mm.
but they don't keep that energy all the 364 other days of the year.
Man, that's a whole podcast episode in itself. Just when you bring up the MLK boulevards in different cities, because if you notice, every MLK boulevard, it like you said, is in the
Mm-hmm.
hood. Like, it doesn't look good in
Mm-hmm.
most cases. But man, I want to shift the energy, man. I want to bring a fire quote, just to kind of bring the energy back up. Because again, I know MLK, he paved the way. He had his dream, and I know in some components, he like, man, I did. It came to fruition. But again, we got some work to do. But
I think
yeah,
more
yeah.
than anything, he planted the seed though, and that's just what we as the next generation have to continue to water. Because bro, like uh, tomorrow Thursday, man, we're going to a group of kids reading a book on MLK, and then we're going to talk about what it means to us. So just keeping that
Mm,
vision, keeping that journey
that's true.
alive in the midst of the DE&I and all the other adjustments and things of that nature. Just keeping his name alive, but understanding that he paved the way. He made a bunch of these sacrifices, and he's really like the martyr of our generation. You know what I'm
That's real. That's real. Respect. Respect.
saying? But what quote you got for us? I know it's something dope, something
Yeah.
something inspiring. Talk to us.
Yeah, man. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. Maya Angelou.
Mm,
What
mm,
you think?
mm. Just pulling from the ether, bro. The ether is infinite.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I asked my daughter what's her favorite number. She always says infinity. And I say, why is that? She says, because it's unlimitless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and that's the thing. And creativity is something, bro. I've noticed like in the shower, I'm so creative. And
Yeah.
it's because I'm not thinking about the day. I'm not thinking about the work. I'm just in a free space.
Mm,
And I say all that to say creativity is I almost feel like a realm. You know what I'm saying? When you meditate, some people say you go to another realm, but when you get in your creative bag and the ether and the universe is throwing all these different things at you, it's like, Dad, where did I get that? Like that, it's from an abundant source, is what I
yeah.
think of, bro. So I'm curious to get your thought there as well.
Man, I promise you, I be trying not to make it so deep, man, but sometimes it just be that way. I was driving in Chicago, and we had these viaducts, and under these viaducts, you might see a homeless person.
Hold on, you got a viaduct? I'm sorry, I'm in North Carolina,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
give
yeah,
us a little more
yeah,
context.
yeah. So I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like it's like a tunnel, for lack of a better word.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? But at
okay,
the top, they have like a metro or a train, something like that. But like cars
gotcha.
drive under it, right?
Okay,
So
gotcha.
think of a bridge, or just think of a homeless person living under a bridge. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Just for the
gotcha.
visual. But you can see this in the summertime, any time of year. But in the winter, specifically, bro, it's humbling for me to see this. But it's
Mm,
also dope because shout out to the quote where it says you can't use up creativity. When you use it up, you get more. Is because, bro, when I say like I'll go from seeing this person land on like a pallet that they made, bro, the it'll start snowing. Next thing you know, bro, they got a tent, right? Then next thing you know, like the temperature drops, bro. They put stuff up on the tent to like stop the wind from like getting in the tent. And I'm like, bro, like how I would have never thought of that. Like not even trying to be funny. Like I would have never thought of that. And I'm just like, bro, it's just so humbling to know. Like, my famous quote is like when resources was at their lowest,
mm-hmm,
creativity was at its highest. It's like, bro, when
mm-hmm.
you're back against the wall and you really being creative, that is truly the only way to get more creativity. Because I think of it this way: if I use my creativity to go this way on this path, even if I find out that this path doesn't work because I use the creativity, I can then pivot and go the other way and use different creativity because I used it. But if I don't use it, I never know if this path works. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
to get more creativity, you have to use it, man. You have to use it.
Yeah, it's a compound effect. What they say, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step, right? Once you lean into that creativity, all you can do is expound upon it. But if you
For sure.
don't, a lot of those ideas are either gone forever or things that somebody else moves on, and now you're like, damn, I wish I would have done that, right?
For sure. For sure. Man, but I would love to get our guest perspective from, one creative to another. This brother, man, he killing it I was gonna say in Chicago, but man, but really around the country, man. He's really doing his thing, man. Man, without further ado, man, I'm gonna go ahead and bring on Airik, man. Welcome, welcome. Hey, man, Airik, man, welcome to the show, brother. First and foremost, but would love to get your perspective on this quote.
And this quote, man, I think first of all, I just think it's a great quote, and it's interesting because I feel like I really truly embody this quote.
Mm.
Seriously,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I oftentimes be like, why? Sometimes I be like, man, why do I do come up with so many ideas and like have all these different type of thoughts? But I equate it to, it's like, it's like you said, it's like the ethers. It's like it's an infinite number of possibilities. It's an infinite number of things that you can pull from the ether. So it's kind of like a vending machine. You go into this ethereal vending machine and you're pulling out these ideas, or you just grabbing these ideas, and then you have to like manifest those and execute on those ideas. Yeah, and it's really an energetic thing too. So yeah, I feel like I embody that for sure. And you always gonna have more creativity. You can't lose that, because that's just the essence of who we are. Um, I know I believe in God, so I believe that as God gave us the same ability is to create, and create on this planet, and to manipulate matter and energy, and bring forth whatever it is that we want to see. So
That's fire, bro.
yeah.
First off, shout out to you, man, because I never even heard or thought of. He said it's like a vending machine of like you could just go get in your creative bag, basically. But man, I always say this, Airik. I say, man, I believe that our purpose is to create. I'm like, we were made in the likeness and image of the creator, and if he creates, man, we create. Whether that's businesses, kids, relationships, resources, whatever that is, man, we are here to create. And if we believe as people that if we use up our creativity, like we don't get any other creativity, I believe we die when we stop creating. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because we would go against what we're naturally supposed to be doing, man. But Airik, would love for you to give our listeners just a little bit of background, into who you are, and just introduce yourself to the Let's Grow Together family.
Hey, hold on, hold
Man,
on. I want to do a quick pause at that time. Do
Yeah,
you hear that? Do you hear that?
what is it?
we're back in it.
All right, we back. All right, so man, I'm Airik Crawford, and basically, I call myself a creative in every sense of the word. I call myself super creative. So I'm from the West Side of Chicago. I moved to Maywood when I was a teenager, and ever since then, I've always known that I wanted to create. When I was younger, I didn't know exactly what that meant. But as I progressed and I got older, I acquired skills, and I acquired these talents, and and I just decided, it's your purpose, it's your God given purpose to put these talents to use. Somebody told me one time, he was like, if you got a gift and you don't use it, it's kind of like you're wasting it, and you're not moving in your purpose. So I try to exhaust all my talents. I try to exhaust all my resources, because once we leave this earth, you kind of want to die empty. You want to say you gave it your all. Like Kobe did. You feel me? So that's kind of my thought process and my approach to how I approach my creativity. But if you was to say I do one specific thing, or the thing that most people know me for, is being a videographer, creating content. I also be making music. I also draw as well, and do graphic design. So I have to wear a lot of different hats, and I ain't even throw event curation in there too. So, um, being in the position that I am, I do have to wear a lot of different hats, and balance all of this creativity.
Hmm.
Um, and at first it was like a little bit, it was difficult, because nobody in my family's done this before. I
Yeah,
come from a blue collar family. Everybody works, they hard workers too. But I feel like I'm the first person in my family to try to do something to this scale and to the magnitude that I am right now.
yeah,
Even with starting the platform that I started, which is Live from the Living Room, that I started late December 2022. and it's been growing since then, and people have really gravitated towards it. So,
For sure.
and yeah.
Hmm. You said something really good, bro. In the beginning, you said exhausting the energy. James and I always talk about, the graveyard is where the most potential and layman opportunity that was missed out on. But you're very intentional with exhausting it and wearing numerous different hats. I could imagine, bro, coming from a blue collar family, like that wasn't really received well in the midst of saying, I want to be an entrepreneur, opposed to clocking in doing the 9 to 5. So I know there was a little bit of a rebuttal and kind of back and forth there. Would love to get a little bit more insight in how kind of continue to see the light at the end of the tunnel in the midst of family maybe not supporting you to that original stint.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely some first generation things. So I went to college too. I went to Knox College. I got my degree in fine art. So me being first generation, I went to a liberal arts college, and there I kind of it just really just opened my mind up a little bit more to the possibilities of what I could really pursue and what I could really do. Just being around certain demographics of people like Indians, Asians, meeting the people from around the world.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was very much open to different possibilities. As far as like my family goes, they know what I do, but they would probably never ever be able to understand it and what
Yeah.
goes into it.
Mm.
Um, and I used to be upset, but it's like I'm not really as upset no more about that. Because I know I'm doing something different, and I know they come from a different time period and a different
Yeah.
generation. They come from a generation where you actually could go to work and be decent, but I feel like me being born in the 90s and everything like that, I feel like we was born on that cusp of the internet and in the regular world before computers really took over everything too.
Yeah.
So that's just a generational gap, and but when it's all said and done, they probably gonna appreciate it though. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So Eric, I would love for you to talk a little bit about like why you decided to pick up the camera. I was having a conversation with one of my buddies, Fred. He's also a videographer, and
Mhm.
he was just talking about how the camera was just an opportunity to express himself. Like, sometimes people don't have the words to express something, but they can take a picture and it expresses
Mm.
that emotion, or they can capture some video of someone singing and it elicits some type of emotion. So I'm just interested in hearing from you, like, how did you find the camera, and kind of talk about what that camera has done for you, because you talked about live from the living room, and a couple other things that you're doing, but I'm interested in knowing, like, yeah, again, like, why the camera, because you could have done a million different things.
I picked up the camera for a couple reasons. The first very simple reason is because marketing. I just knew we was in a visual world and we in a visual space now, so people needed to see you. So that's one reason I picked up the camera, and I knew that I can not only tell my story, but I could use that camera to tell other people's stories. So that's one of the reasons I picked up the camera. The second reason I picked up the camera too was I was really interested in music videos, and I was
Mm-hmm.
really interested in how did they achieve these certain type of film looks.
Yeah.
And when I first picked up the camera, I just kind of like binge watch a bunch of YouTube videos. I read a few books, and I really sat on my parents' couch for a whole summer just studying the camera. I had a Nikon D3100, and after I just learned a bunch of stuff, I kind of just went outside and started just shooting and implementing those little techniques that I was learning. But that was really what it is. I'm looking at like J. Cole videos, I'm looking at
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick Lamar videos, and I'm like, man, these are some amazing cinematic type of projects. I want to know how to do that, and I want to know how to speak that film language to a
Yeah.
director, to a crew. So that's one of the reasons I did that. Yeah.
That's fire.
So
Yeah.
I know you went to school, right, with the creative arts component, but I've noticed something within every creative, individual. Like there's a you talked about how you studied YouTube, right? You took a lot of time on your own to really do your deep dive. I've realized a lot of creatives are like self-reliant or like self-taught in a lot of different elements as well, too, right? They may study somebody, but they do their own internal deep dives. And it sounds like you definitely applied that to your approach with live from the living room. So would love to learn a little bit more about that. And then also tell me maybe a specific moment that was extremely memorable, which you were able to, leverage the ether to be able to create something that may not have originally been there.
Man, dang, that's a deep question. All right, I'm gonna answer the first part first. As far as like deep diving into film, like I went to art school, but I didn't go to film school. So it
Gotcha.
was more so I was taking what we was learning in art history and a little bit more about design, and I was taking some of those principles and I was applying it to film. So it made it a lot easier for me to like understand framing and composition and stuff like that,
Gotcha.
and looking at certain paintings and how they light these paintings, and you look at certain videos, you be like, man, that looks like a Rembrandt painting if you was to, you know,
Mm,
convert it into. So
gotcha.
that's one of the reasons. That's one of the things that I did was like study that. In terms of like live from the living room. I just think I developed my aesthetic over time. Just shooting, just constantly shooting in the city. I kind of developed my own aesthetic, and it really the moment where I knew it's like, okay, this is me. That was like 2020, I think. I was shooting a lot of videos with one of my friends, Breeze, and we would just bounce ideas back and forth, and it's just kind of like this way of shooting had become my look and my aesthetic. I could tell y'all a funny story. Y'all probably laugh. Um, I had an ex girlfriend, right? So so me and my girl, she was like a model or whatever, and I took some pictures of her, and then it was a dude that she used to mess with. He ended up calling her phone, was like, see, like, why you with him? And then she like, how he know I was with you? And it was because the pictures I was taking. He looked at the pictures that I was
Yeah,
taking, and it's like, this is his style of taking
that's
pictures. I was
so
like,
funny. Hey,
Brand recognition, huh?
for sure. But real quick, Eric, because I know we kind of throwing the name around a little bit, like I want to make sure that we giving the proper like love to it. So it's live from the living room. So first off, I want you to tell our listeners exactly what that is, because I know we've kind of talked around what it is, but I think you should give light to our listeners exactly what it is, because it's really dope what he's doing. Because he really didn't tell us what it is, but like it's phenomenal, and
I ain't even did. All right,
yeah, because
yeah,
I
all
told
right.
told
So
him this in person. I just want to say this real quick because we love giving our flowers. And this is just how the universe works. We were supposed to do this podcast a couple months ago, and for some reason, technology doing this thing didn't work out. And me and Eric ended up connecting at a Chicago Park District event. Like, not didn't connect, didn't talk about it, but we ended up coming to the same event, and we were just in circle. And I'm just talking like, man, I seen these videos, Eric, bro. You would have thought this man had like a multi-million-dollar budget. Some of these videos he be putting out, bro. Like, that's the type of quality that he coming with. But hearing him talk about, like, man, I saw this looks like a Rembrandt, or I studied J. Cole, and it makes sense now. You know what I'm saying? Why the aesthetic looks that way. But again, Eric, would love for you to talk about Live from the Living Room. Give us some context.
all right, man. So live from the living room. That's like my baby. That's what I've been working on for the last 3 years. Live from the living room is I started December 2022. And originally, Live from the Living Room started because I just wanted to share my art with the world. And honestly, I didn't intend for it to just it become what it was now.
Mm-hmm.
Not initially. Um, but basically it's a creative it's a creative ecosystem, I like to call it, you feel me? So it's mainly based on performances, but I have added other components along the way. So I added the art gallery component, and then we have like the interview component, and it's becoming its own like network of content basically for
Okay.
artists and live events too. So that's what it is. That's what I call it. I call it a creative ecosystem where artists can come and just show themselves and showcase their work essentially. That's what Live from the Living Room is. But going back into the story of how it was created, I shot a Live from the Living Room video with me rapping in my living room.
Mm-hmm.
I posted it on social media. One of my friends, who also is a rapper, he came on. He was like, "Bro, I got to do one of those videos."
Mm-hmm.
He came over to my crib, shot the video. We posted it on Instagram the next day. It did like 4,000 plays in a few hours.
Oh, man.
And at that moment, I was like, "Man, we probably really got something right here. Let me like continue to do it." Another one of my friends, he's from Nigeria. He came over to the living room, did his. And then since I was doing that, artists was just hitting me up. Artists that I had came in contact with, just being on the scene or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They were just hitting me up, coming to my actual apartment, coming to my living room, and getting a video shot. And we just shooting a video, posting it the next day. That's kind of how season 1 went,
Mm-hmm.
And then it started gaining traction to the point where I had met somebody in LA, and he was like, "Oh, that's you that do Live from the Living Room?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Are you Ayla Egg?" He was like, "Oh yeah, man." Like, so it started to get like recognition around, various places, bunch of different places, and that's how it came about. And then I moved from my apartment because I had to move out of my apartment, and then I ended up moving to a studio in the West Loop. And then at that studio, I ended up doing season 3. And then I also started Galleria from the Living Room, which is the visual artist component and a live event that I put together for that. Yeah.
That's dope.
I love how you use your platform to highlight other individuals and like what they're doing and what they got going on. I'm curious to know, is there a specific collaboration or maybe an engagement that was extremely impactful on you and your career?
You talk about with Live from the Living Room?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So I would say like the biggest collaboration that I got actually right now is with Block Cycle Labs. So my friend Walt, he runs Block Cycle Labs, which essentially is a platform where he uses to teach crypto and teach DeFi, decentralized finance. And he's been teaching decentralized finance since about 2020, 2021. And he created Block Cycle Labs, which is basically a community of people that come together just to, to learn and study with each other. His platform is also evolving, but that collaboration, that partnership has been like real instrumental in building and helping the infrastructure of Live from the Living Room happen,
Trying to find me a balance in life. Why I'm still trying to gamble with life. Wanna be great, it gotta come with a price. Gotta watch what you ask for. I strive for these moments in life. I'm still learning and giving advice. I try carrying the weight of the world. See, I saw when I was losing myself. I had to catch my breath. Nobody got you like you got yourself. So it's important for you to know who you are. Cause in the dark you gotta fight with your heart. Even if your heart broken apart. But they still gon' judge me. So tell me how that's been here for me. I had to see that everybody didn't love me. Like everybody ain't for me. I took chances just to see for myself. Cause for the longest I've been hurting myself. Trying to blame someone else. I stand on it, don't regret what I did. Cause I can live that my intentions were real. My heart just needed to heal. Gotta get back to loving myself and trusting myself and better my health. Nobody loves you like you loving yourself. You gotta know who you are. Gotta get back to loving myself and